Good morning, everyone, everywhere in the world. Wow, happy Monday. If it's Monday where you are, probably for most people, it's Monday. Welcome back to RC with Adam. My name is Adam. We are doing yet another Q&A session, hour-long or so Q&A session on YouTube. We're live on YouTube and Instagram right now. And man, I tell you what, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And or morning or whatever time it is for where you are, morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, perhaps some other time that has not been invented yet. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Hopefully you can see me okay. What are we doing today? Well, that's kind of up to you, but what I like to do, the reason why I do this is because I want to help people. I want to help you. I know what it's like. It can be so frustrating. You can be so frustrated and angry when technical things aren't working like they're supposed to. People maybe made it seem like it would be super duper easy to get into 3D printing or drones or, RC aircraft. And you see them having so much fun. You're like, that's so awesome. I want to do that. But then they kind of maybe just forgot to mention like all the steps that it takes to get to that point of having fun. And then some of those things are simple solutions, but it takes a long time to figure out what the simple solution is. So I know that was the case for me. So ever since then, I have been trying to simplify things for people and explain things in a way that makes sense and can save you some heartache and some frustration. You know what I'm saying? Because drones and 3D printing, it's a great combination. So if you're already interested in those, congratulations, you're making great life choices so far. And but there's a learning curve. You gotta get into it, and you gotta learn some stuff. And sometimes it can just be overwhelming. And I know for folks like me, that can certainly be the case. So welcome, good morning. Hope you're having a great day, and it's going to be okay. Okay, I think somebody out there just needs to know. Probably me. I'm probably the one who needs to know to hear. Just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. A lot of times we get stressed out. We end up stressing ourselves out because we have this idea of how something is supposed to go. And it has to go that way. And if it doesn't go that way, then I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm going to freak out and be mad at everybody. And also sad, mad. That's a lame combination to have, So, so just take a moment, take a deep breath. And it's going to be okay. Sometimes when things are difficult or it seems like they're not working right, sometimes they're not supposed to work right. Sometimes you got to push through and persevere and all that stuff to get to the prize. But sometimes you need to stop and take a moment and take a look around and be like, is there a better way of doing this? Am I legitimately on track? Am I trying to figure this out the right way, or is there something that I'm missing and I'm not? I don't even realize that I'm missing it, and I'm just getting frustrated. So, just think about that for today. But it's going to be okay. Most of the time, things are not as big of a deal as we think that they are. You know what I'm saying? So that could apply to getting your drone working. That could apply to 3D printing. That could apply to all sorts of other things in life. So with that said, if you have questions or comments or topics related to 3D printing, RC aircraft and stuff like that you want to talk about, let me know. Leave your questions in the chat on Instagram over to the side. Is that going to point to the right direction? I can't tell because there's a lag. No, it's the wrong way. Wait, no. This way. Oh, yep, that way. Leave your comments over there on Instagram or on YouTube. I guess also the same way. On YouTube, leave your comments. Yes, both of them. I guess both. I think that's where the chat would be. Whatever, or leave them down there. I don't know. We got a good bit of lag on the video today. So hopefully I can help you. Hopefully I can solve all your problems. Maybe. Well, not all your problems, but probably, I can usually solve some problems pretty good. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing this and helping you guys out. That's the reason why we do this. Why we do this free live help, because sometimes I didn't do my normal kind of spiel, but sometimes you want real help from a real person real fast in real time, and that's what we do here at RC with Adam Industries with real-time fast help. RC drone 3D printing help fast LLC. All right, so what do we want to do today? Great question. Great question. Basically, in the meantime, until we get some questions going here, it's just going to be you and me hanging out. I'm going to be talking about some stuff. Just probably whatever pops in my head. We're going to be doing a little recap, is usually what I like to do. And let me get over to, I'm going to try and monitor the comments as best I can on YouTube and Instagram. And we'll just kind of see how that goes. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you today. And let me get boom. There we go. I'm gonna try and monitor the comments. I'll move that guy out of the way there. On YouTube and Instagram. A little smaller. And we'll just kind of, we'll just kind of see how that. I know on Instagram it's going to look a little squished. You're not going to get my whole screen, but we're just going to have to roll with that. Boom. Make do. So I guess I should say, in case we're just meeting, my name is Adam Terry. People get my name wrong all the time. They call me Terry. So if you want to call me Terry, you can. But just know that I will forever hold it against you. No, I'm just kidding. It really does happen all the time. But my name's Adam. This is RC with Adam. And I've been doing this channel for, I don't know, about 10 years or so. And you can kind of tell just from the main page here what it's kind of about. Basically kind of two things. One thing, well, it's primarily the topics are 3D printing and RC stuff, FPV drones. What I like to do are crazy projects like these guys, like we're building like a little sort of sleeper FPV drone from a DJI Mavic Mini. That was a really popular video. A lot of DJI stuff gets really popular, so that's always fun. But just crazy builds. Crazy ideas, being able to, and that's what's so cool about 3D printing, is being able to bring your ideas to life, and your designs and everything. So playing around with a lot of that. Primarily, I got started in the RC aircraft side of things longer time ago. I mean, that was what I first got into. Well, I guess technically the first thing was a drone, a tiny micro drone, indoor type of drone. That was like my very first RC video, but then I was able to get into RC aircraft, and that's what I got into, and I got no, I guess I got a FlySky transmitter. So I have a bunch of FlySky videos. I'm kind of like the FlySky guy. I don't think anybody else has as much FlySky content as I do, so super proud of that. But I got the FlySky stuff, the FlySky radio, because I got into FPV drones. So I was doing the RC aircraft stuff more heavily, or that's what I got into first anyway. And then I got into the FPV drones, and the FPV drones that's what was the huge hurdle, figuring out, just understanding how this works, why this doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. So that's why I made this playlist you see here called Help for Beginners Eachine Wizard X220. That was the first one that I got, and boy, that was a learning curve. It took me like a month just to understand what I had to do to get it working. So definitely different from airplanes, but I did that. So I did that. Right. So then I got into drones, and then eventually I got into 3D printing a bit more recently. Although now it was like, wow, it was like 5 years ago now, 6 years ago now. Oh, wow. Okay. So anyway, so for the last 6 years, I've been incorporating 3D printing and stuff into the drones and stuff, and the RC airplanes and stuff. And that is just super fun. Like designing your own stuff and then 3D printing it, and then especially stuff for drones and RC aircraft, super duper fun. But again, there's quite a bit of a learning curve with that as well. And then technology evolves, and you have to like figure out like like why things just randomly stop working and all that. So I have quite a bit of technical troubleshooting experience, and it's fun. I find it very enjoyable. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me and about who I am and what RC with Adam is all about. And then we'll have well, there's more I could say, but we'll save that for later. How about that? Oh boy. All right. So that's enough of an intro for me. Let's talk more about you. Enough about me. What about you? If you're in the chat, say hello or something. Let us know, where are you from? What is your phone number and social? No, I'm just kidding. But where is everybody from? It's pretty quiet today, which I guess is a good thing. That means that not too many people have issues that they need help with. So that's cool. So it's just going to be a lot of me talking about stuff. I think we'll just kick things off. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but the most common questions that I get are, like for 3D printing, are like, what's one of the best like beginner 3D printers? And then also like, why isn't my 3D printer working, or it's doing this weird thing? And I always recommend that people check out the Simplify 3D troubleshooting guide. It is a visual troubleshooting guide, so you can see all these different problems. Some of these are sort of quote unquote outdated in the sense of you're much more unlikely to have these issues with modern 3D printers, but you still can, and it's good to know. This should just be part of like sort of your curriculum or your class, or that like your history. I guess this would be like the history if you were taking a 3D printing class, in a way. But these are things that can still pop up. And so you can see what is going on and be like, why do I have gaps in the floor corners? Or why do I have blobs and zits? And what is this thing? That's overheating. So you can learn about that stuff. It's very, very helpful. And you have the visuals, because that is another reason why I do what I do, because it can be so frustrating to solve a problem when you don't even know what the words are to solve the problem. So this will at least give you an idea of visually matching what you see with words that you can type in to a search or an AI search thing and figure out the solutions. Next, people are like, hey, what's like the best 3D printer? What's a good beginner 3D printer? So so first of all, the answer to that is like, well, it depends on what do you want to do, what do you want to print with, how big do you need it to be, blah, 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 all that stuff. But if you just want like something to check out, I would check out this Elegoo Centauri Carbon. This came across my desk, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And it looks like a pretty solid deal. It's marked down a lot because they came out with a new version, which has the multi-color printing option, which, and usually at this point I say, hey, just so you know, multicolor printing, in terms of like, especially what Bamboo Lab puts out, or how do I put this? Multicolor printing using one nozzle and multiple like spools, and having to change out the spools or change out the filament, is very wasteful, super wasteful, and super time consuming. And so I really don't like it. It can be done. It works, obviously. That's what Bamboo Lab and others really advertised heavily when they came out with that ability. However, it's definitely not for everyone, and it's definitely not for me, especially because the other thing that I do is I print, like, I guess you could say professionally or as a business, making 3D prints. And so it is not cost and time effective. The cost of time. Yeah. So it's not very efficient to do it that way. Anyway, but I say, you know what, if you're looking for like a solid, again, I don't have personal experience with this. I just want to emphasize that, but other people have, and they've been on the chat. You might check out the Centauri Carbon, and I usually say, if you do want to go with Bamboo Lab, I'm starting to have some mixed feelings about the company Bamboo Lab, personally, in terms of their future direction. I don't want to let me put it this way. I'm researching whether or not they are going to be very, very open source and sort of pro creator, pro customer, or they're gonna, if they go in a direction of like locking down their printers, because this just came up. This is a thing going on in places. I don't have all the details. I'm doing a really bad job of explaining this. But the point of what I'm trying to say is that Bambu Lab is that, to me, they're like the Apple of the 3D printers. They are very sleek. They are quite user friendly. So that's why they're good for beginners. And then they have a whole ecosystem of the filament that has the RFID stuff, so you don't have to figure out how, like, the filament profiles and stuff. And then you can download models from Maker World. That's their STL kind of like repository. So it's very kind of in that ecosystem. It can be very like streamlined and easy. However, it's kind of like less, I guess you could say it's less open source. It's you don't have quite so many options, similar to kind of Apple computers or Apple phones versus Android phones. Anyway, if that matters to you, I just like to bring that up, but maybe it doesn't matter to you. And if that's the case, the A1, I really like the A1. I have an A1. It's a great printer. And it has a full-size build plate. So that's going to be one of the big differences. Is people are like, what should I, what kind of printer should I get? Well, one of the biggest things is, what do you want to print? Do you want to print big stuff? Do you want to print something that's really large in one model? Or, if you have a smaller print bed, like the Bambu Lab A1 Mini, which is cost a bit less. It's only like, what, $70, $80 less, I think, than the A1. Then, you're not going to have as many options for printing larger prints. So I like to keep that in mind as well. Neither of these have an enclosure. So if you're like, oh, I want a 3D printer because I want to print with specialty filament, maybe making, specialty tools that you can 3D print yourself. Then you want something with an enclosure. So that would be like your, I guess it would be your P series. Your P series, your P2S, your P1S, and then your H series. But that's like overkill, because that has like, I think they all have like laser engraving capabilities. I don't want to mix laser engraving with 3D printing. I don't really want. It seems, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know why that's super great, but the H series is basically like larger and kind of like more than what most people would need. So then you'd have like the P series. So my whole thing is like, hey, the P1S, I think the P1S is cheaper. That's $639. It's got the Core XY design, which means the build plate just goes up and down instead of the build plate moving back and forth. And the Elegoo Centauri Carbon is very similar to that at less than half the price. So that's why I say, some options, just some options to have. Ring ding ding! We have a question, not a question, I guess, but over on YouTube, Michael Hollingsworth is in the chat. Welcome, Michael. Says, hey, how's it going? It's going very well. He says, I have my bat build 90% complete. Can't wait to fly it. Awesome. Very cool. Let's see, 90%. What would that be? 90%. 90% would be everything except for the wing, maybe. Maybe you're building the wings last? I'm just taking guesses here. Yeah, Michael is talking about the bat on an RC airplane that I designed called the Bat. Let's search my videos here. Here we go. Here's the Bat, the Backyard Airplane Trainer. I guess I have a playlist for this. Oh boy, this is going to be embarrassing, but just for funsies, why don't we look at the build video? Michael, did you use the build video to build it? this is an 8-year-old video, and 8 years. It's funny because 8 years in RC airplane time is not that long. I mean, it's a while. It's 8 years, but everything is still relevant. Well, okay, let's say like 90% is still relevant. Maybe electronics change, maybe methods change. But with like FPV drones, 8 years is like a pretty darn huge difference. 8 years is like, oh yeah, that's not even a thing anymore. Like we do it a totally different way. Anyway, let's take a look at this guy. Oh yeah, I remember filming that whole like intro. This was like my very first like air to air flying. I had that was my friend there, my old friend from my old church, Eddie, and we were out at his field, and I was having him fly it, and then I was flying. I wish I had like a picture of it, but I'm pretty sure I was flying my Wizard X220 with the with like a hodgepodge gimbal on it with the GoPro under the gimbal. So that's why it was able to stay, level. It's very interesting. So wow, yeah, terrible lighting, Adam. But so obviously, obviously it was the best I could do at the time. But still, my apologies for if you had to go through this. I am working on revising the build plans and the build process and the build video, I suppose. And so I want to get that out this year. I have like kind of like other really pressing stuff going on in front of that, so I can't really. I don't know that I can expedite that so much, but that is something that that I want to get out there. That'd be really cool. So anyway, this is all the boring part of cutting and chopping. I tried to make it as simple as possible though, because if you can't tell by now, I'm a pretty simple guy. No, I take that back. I'm a pretty simple guy who likes pretty simple things, because it's either that or I make things way overcomplicated and never get anything done because I'm taking way too long thinking about it. So I have to keep things simple. And also because I fly RC airplanes differently than a lot of other people. So crashing is not such a big deal to me. And so I want my airplanes to be like, durable. Where did that video? I had crashing is not such a big deal to me, and so I want my. Was it? Well, let's look in this playlist, eh? Like, durable. I had one that was like, maybe it was this one. It was just kind of a compilation video, yeah, of like the bat doing cool stuff. So you can like kind of like circle down with it. What would that be called? Not circle down. You can basically do full up elevator and full like left roll, and then like do a spiral downward, and you can fly in some really narrow spaces. So look at it go. Look at it go. Of course, it takes a little bit of practice and all that stuff, but it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Super duper short takeoff. It's a belly lander, so yeah, like that. Just or you can even do it on the tail too. Actually, you can set it on the tail carefully, and then it will fly right up off of there. All that stuff, but it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Super duper short takeoff. It's a belly lander, so yeah, like that. Just or you can even do it on the tail too. Actually, you can set it on the tail carefully, and then it will. Let me fix this real quick. Got some audio coming in here. There we go. Go back to here. Cool. All right. So far, no questions. Wow. Oh, right. So then I did this thing where I had it like on fire, and then so I made. How did I do that? I kind of wish I had shown the contraption. Did I show the contraption? I don't know if I did. But anyway, I had a little attachment pod on the bottom. Yeah, like that. That's what I was saying. You could do. You could just kind of like spiral down. I had a little attachment so that it would fling open, I guess, on the servo control, and it would dump cinnamon. I had cinnamon, which is like the spice, cinnamon, and it would dump it out. And cinnamon is so fine that it catches fire. So I probably had darn good fire starters or something burning on there. So and then I went whoosh, and then it kind of like made like this heart shape intentionally. Whoosh, fire heart. Check that out. That's pretty cool. And it's kind of cool because like if you could use cinnamon for that because cinnamon itself like that's not a an explosive, or it's not something that like is dangerous. But if you are flying over a fire and then you can dump it and then it goes whoosh, which is kind of cool. Kind of cool. I guess it kind of aerosolizes or whatever the word is for that. But anyway, the bat was well, look at that guy. That's crazy. I still have that clock. That is wild when you look back on things. It's like, whoa. Whoa, dude. All right. So the bat was like one of the first kind of designs that I did actually. So that was fun. Uh this, let's see. Well, I may as well just look at this. This one this was like my first like really popular like viral video, I think. I guess you could say it was. And it's funny because some people see this and they're like, it's either people who know nothing about drones and they're just like, okay, it's a drone flying, like yeah, and then there are people who know about FPV drones and they're like, okay, yeah, it's like an FPV drone, okay. But then the people like in between who are like, oh, I know about Mavic drones and like maybe there's this like FPV drones or something, but then it's like Mavic drones, they're just like magic. Like I don't know what's inside them, they just fly. So I think that's why this is a neat video uh, for that sort of demographic, because it's like, what, like you're taking apart this magical thing and then like making it fly. So and then of course some people criticize it because it's like, well, you're not really actually turning, like you're just putting FPV drone parts in there and just keeping the shell, so like it's not actually special. But that's kind of the point. I mean, the point is that it looks like that. It's a sleeper. It's a sleeper. Like when you have a lame looking car and you're like, oh, that thing's super slow and lame, but then you actually put like a crazy engine in it, and then it like drives all crazy. So yeah, and I guess I did a pretty good job with the editing and the visuals and stuff. Kept it very fast paced because I have like hours of footage. You know how that goes. Hours of footage of something, and then you just go chop 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 chop, chop, and then it turns into like a 5 minute, maybe 5 minute video, and then maybe even a shorter like reel kind of video. That red thing is my universal adapter. Yeah, it's a universal adapter mount, and that one's for an all-in-one board. You can get those at RCwithAdam.com. Well, you can download the STL files for them. Maybe I should sell them. Huh, I don't know. Like actually 3D print them and sell them to people who don't have a 3D printer or who don't want to 3D print them. That might be a good idea. deep, 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 deep. Ah, yes. And then this piece right here, as I say, this piece is actually the secret to success. I call it a prop stopper or something like that. It's really super duper simple. It just keeps the folding propellers from folding too much, because I found that that was one of the problems is you cannot control the motors and the propellers thus attached to the motors. You can't control them like you should be able to with an FPV drone, because FPV drone propellers typically are fixed in place. And the way that these were designed, they just changing the throttle would cause the propellers to swing around too far and like hit each other. So that is what the prop stoppers are for. So it essentially turns it into a fixed bladed propeller. Wow, that is some rough analog footage there. Yeah. Okay. And a power loop. Did a power loop there. And let's skip ahead to, where does this end? Did some runs there. Yeah, there we go. I think we have a slow motion of it crashing. There we go. And bam! Crash. There you go. There you go. All right. So let me see if I can pull something up that's really cool, and then we'll take a look at that. Oh, let's see. Let me see if we can bring that. Get rid of that. This worked. So I am. So, all right. So let's see. How long have we been doing this here? About 34 minutes. All right. We got a little ways to go. So, hey, welcome everybody to RC with Adam. In case you're just joining me, my name is Adam, and this is the Q&A session time where you can ask as many dumb questions about FPV drones and 3D printing and RC aircraft, and I will do my best to answer them. And yes, anyway, anybody who has been here, thanks for hanging out with me. And it's probably my mom. Mom, is that you? Are you watching this, Mom? Oh, man. Anyway, that's okay. My mom's a great mom. She's the best mom ever. So go out there and, give your mom a hug. Anyway, let's jump into right here. So I thought this would be fun. So this is I've been playing around, actually, thanks to my tech whiz dad. Actually, he's all into the AI stuff, and so I am playing around with using AI systems and stuff to make some really great. The goal is to make really great learning resources for you guys and to help me explain stuff about FPV drones and all this stuff that we talk about. But I'm a very graphical guy. I love graphics. So we typed in a couple prompts into this lovable AI modeling tool thing. And this one gives like a bunch of visuals and stuff. So this is what it spat out. So I didn't create this, but I'm going to use this to kind of just as talking points to talk about this. So learn to fly FPV drones, a complete roadmap from zero to confident pilot. Follow this flowchart to master the art of first-person view drone flying. And it's cool and it's like interactive, which is crazy. Hover over each step for details. So you actually have to click on it. Oh, I guess you can hover. Never mind, you can hover over it. All right, so to start with, first of all, if you want to get into FPV drones, you should get a simulator. All right, so this one lists Liftoff, Velocidrone, or DRL simulator. There's also TRYP, that's TRYP, or Uncrashed is another good one. And the cheapest one, the free one, is FPV, I think it's called FPV Skydive. Yeah, I believe that's what it is. That's made by Orca. So absolutely get a drone simulator. You can learn the controls without the crash costs. Huge, like so huge. Like your first, I don't know, 20 dumb crashes are just going to be like, you're going to go through those very quickly. And you can actually crash more, which means you're going to learn more. You can practice 20 to 30 hours minimum. I don't know about a minimum. You really don't need like that many hours minimum. You could probably get the hang of it after like 1 hour, honestly. Master throttle management first. Yes, throttle management is really the key to flying FPV drones. If you want to be a top-notch, top-tier, tip-top world-class pilot, or even just a decent pilot, you need to know throttle management. What does that really mean? Really, we're just saying the throttle, essentially, with FPV drones, the throttle controls all your motors, basically. So when you push the throttle up, it's going to increase all of your motors. And what that really means is basically just that, your throttle is the go stick, I guess you could say. So if you give it too much throttle, then you're going to go too fast or too high. If you don't have enough throttle, you're going to crash into stuff. And because you need to you're kind of like picking the direction to point all the motors with the other sticks or the other controls, the other channels. And then your throttle is making all of the motors kind of go in the direction that you point the quad. So that's kind of how that works. And then also with, especially if you're doing slower flying, and the ability to slow down and speed up, being able to hover, throttle management is going to be a huge factor there. So throttle management. And I have a whole series, by the way. Let's see, do I bring it up? Just in case you wanted to know, I have a whole series of how to fly FPV drones. Learn to fly FPV drone flight training. Again, this is one of those series that is a little old. It could be updated a little bit, but I talk about some really important concepts that are still absolutely going to apply. And there are about 20 videos, and then this one that has it talks about up tilt. Because current FPV drones typically have fixed cameras, and how the up tilt affects the up tilt is the upward tilt of the camera, how that affects the drone performance and flight and your experience flying it. So those are all super important. And so again, you can reference this to watch me do that. I used the liftoff simulator for that example. So next would be get a controller. These kind of go in tandem, so you can use that controller on the simulator. A lot of simulators you can use like a game console controller, but it's not going to be quite the same experience. But you could still learn a lot just from that. So invest in quality radio transmitter that you'll use for years. So here they're suggesting Radiomaster TX16S or Zorro. Personally, I don't recommend the Zorro. Personally, it just doesn't fit my hands very well. I recommend the Radiomaster Pocket, actually, which is what I have right here, if you can see in my little bubble. This is the Radiomaster Pocket. It's very small. It's very inexpensive. Actually, how much is it? I don't remember, but like $60 or much less. But you can also, there are many radios out there that are actually a lot less, like more like in the $40 range, that will absolutely work for the simulator and can actually be good to use with your FPV drones. So they say practice pinching or thumbing grip. Yeah, you can try both of those and see which one feels better. And that basically just means, either you are putting your thumb and your first finger on the stick, or just your thumb, which would be the thumbing grip, and the other ones is the pinching grip. And typically, if I'm ripping around and just kind of like flying fast and loose, I might do the thumb grip. But if I need more control and it's kind of more natural for me to do the pinching grip, or kind of a combination where your thumb is on top, but your first finger is supporting it, stuff like that. Olive is in the chat on YouTube. Welcome. And Michael says, yes, I use the build video step by step. That is just now showing up. So I'm not sure if it's like super delayed or what, but thank you for responding with that. So the build video step by step. Cool. Fantastic. Well, hey, please, Michael, leave your feedback. If you have any feedback of how I could improve the build video, please leave that in those in the comments on the videos, because that would be good to know. I mean, I know a lot of stuff now, like have better lighting and, chop out things that you don't need to have in there and stuff like that. But just let me know if you have suggestions. So we're going through how to learn to fly FPV drones. This is a little flow chart that AI made, and we're using as a little talking points, basically. So you get a controller, configure your switches and rates. Yeah, basically. And then I think later they talk about what that actually means. But so in that series, I talk about what is, your switches, your rates. So your switches are your physical switches on your transmitter, and what do they do? And then the rates are the basically the, what would you call that? Well, it's the rate of rotation of your drone. That's what that means. But essentially what that translates to in practice is, if you have high rates, it means you move the stick on your transmitter a little bit and then your quad moves a lot. Or if you move and it makes it so that your quad can do flips really fast, which a lot of times is too fast. And so I say have very, very, very low rates when you get started, which I talk about in that video. Olive says, I am late because I was studying. Well, good. I'm glad you're prioritizing studying, especially because this is recorded. So you can just go back and watch the replay. And you say, when will I get my stuff? I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought I sent the tracking info. He's talking about the giveaway that we did, the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. I'm not sure, but maybe send me an email, or in case I forget, and then I'll email you the tracking information. It's going to be a while because it's going to Bangladesh. I believe that's where you are, Bangladesh. So I'm not in Bangladesh. I'm not even on that side of the planet. How crazy is that, right? That we can like ship stuff. First of all, that we know that there's like a other side of the planet. But anyway, so getting a controller, absolutely. Master Simulator Basics, which this really should probably be. It should probably be get a controller, get a simulator, master the basics, hover in place for 30 plus seconds. I don't even know if I've ever done that. I've never actually timed it. That's funny. Fly figure 8 patterns smoothly. Never done that. That's not really, that's like a line of sight thing maybe. And I like flying drones line of sight, but I'm not very good at it. But it is fun. It's definitely much more interesting to look at visually. Land precisely on targets. Yes, this is a big one. And I don't know why I haven't I guess I did put it in the guide, like I said, the playlist here, so you can find this Learn to Fly Basics playlist, which, like I said, it's a little bit old, but it is absolutely still applicable. Things are still applicable, and so that's a great way of doing it. If you can put up with my bald head, because I was bald at the time, and so that is where you can find some very useful videos about that. But talking about the landing precisely on targets, landing is a lot of trouble for a lot of people, I guess, with both airplanes and drones, which always reminds me of that scene from Indiana Jones where they're in a plane and his father says, I didn't know you knew how to fly a plane. And then he says, fly, yes, land, no. And then he crash lands the plane. And that's the situation with a lot of people, and myself included sometimes, but landing precisely. And so with FPV drones, the big thing is setting up sort of this like a glide slope and looking at the very bottom of your screen, of your of your camera, basically. And then just kind of doing it to where you get this like spatial understanding of what thing, like a spatial understanding through the FPV drone camera, which is absolutely one of the keys to flying FPV, having a good understanding of that. And then fly with camera tilt, angle mode. I don't know what they're saying there. That doesn't really make sense. Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You kind of always want to have a little bit of camera tilt, but not very much at all when you're first starting. I would say like 15 degrees or so. Yeah, thereabouts. And it's great on the simulator, again, because you just press a few buttons and you go do, 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 and then you increase your camera tilt and you can feel and see the difference of your camera tilt. Whereas with when you're flying in real life, you have to bring your drone back. You got to change the camera tilt. You got to put it back up. You got to bring it back. You got to change the camera tilt, stuff like that. So also it's really cool that it made this little drop down thing like so skinny. So it's like very mobile friendly, which is that's a very good point for me to remember. So master the simulator basics. Boom, we're done. We're a master now. Buy your first drone. Start with a beginner friendly whoop or 3-inch quad. That's probably accurate. Yeah, tiny whoop for indoor practice. Yes. Beta FPV Cetus Pro kit is great. Yeah, it is pretty good. I mean, it's not like, I don't know that it would be the best because I haven't tried them all, but I know I have tried that one and it is a lot of fun flying around. It did have a few little issues with the VTX, or a 3-inch quad like the iFlight Nazgul. Actually, the Cetus Pro, you could fly like outdoors in a backyard and stuff, but like a 3-inch quad, the iFlight Nazgul, I don't know that there is a Nazgul in the 3-inch actually. So, and I should point out, when we talk about inches, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like across or like wide or tall? No, we're talking about the propellers, because FPV drones or drones in general are measured, the size of it is measured by the propeller that it uses or the largest propeller that it can use. So an FPV drone that is a 5-inch drone, which for many years has been kind of the gold standard for like freestyle type of drones. That means that the propeller diameter is 5 inches across. So if you were to draw a circle from propeller tip to propeller tip, that would be 5 inches across. So when it's a 3-inch drone, that means it's smaller and cheaper and lighter and all that stuff. And also, if regulations and laws and things like that would require you to have a smaller, lighter drone, or you just want one that is much quieter and not going to attract any attention, then yes, you probably want something that is not a 5-inch drone, or something that is made, you would not want a 5-inch, and you would not want something that is made to carry a large camera like a GoPro. So budget $200, $400 for first setup. Yeah, I think you could get like an analog ready to fly kit like the Cetus Pro for what are they going for? Probably like $300. I would expect to do $300 for probably $300 to $500 for like a ready to fly kit. Like you're ready to rock and roll with the drone, the transmitter, the goggles. But if you already have a transmitter because you got one to do on the simulator, then you would just need to get, the drone and batteries and stuff, and then the goggles. So, and again, it depends. Huge difference in, do you want to go analog, which is old, doesn't look as good, but it's super cheap and lightweight, or you could go with digital, which potentially can cost many times more, looks amazing, and the weight is probably about the same depending on what you get. However, recently, just a little bit ago, we looked at the walk snail lineup, and this is new to me. I know this has been out a while, but the Cadex, this manufacturer, Cadex FPV, they produce the open source. I think it's open source. I think that's the right term, but the alternate to the DJI digital HD FPV video They have the Avatar. That has been their main lineup. But now they have the Walksnail Ascent, and they have the goggles for 150, and then they have the Ascent Lite VTX kit, actually with the VTX and the camera for $35. And I'm not like selling this right now. I'm just amazed at potentially like the price of that. So they're saying $184 to get into digital FPV, which basically it's going to look better. It's not going to look like that. Manufacturers, stop it. It's not going to look crisp, amazing, like you're watching a movie, okay? It doesn't look like that. It looks kind of like a very cheap digital camera, but still a lot better in many ways than analog. Okay, so anywho, let's go back to our thing here. So the point of what I was saying there is, yes, if you're going with that, where you could get like the well, and then of course you got to get the drone and the goggles. So I would plan, 200 and then 200. So yeah, I don't know, probably around 500. Probably close to 500. Nowadays, the transmitter is actually the cheapest part. Okay, let's move on. Learn to configure. Understanding that Betaflight is essential for any FPV pilot. Yes, Betaflight. Betaflight, what is Betaflight? Betaflight, and we're almost out of time, so if you have any questions, ask them now. What is Betaflight? Betaflight is wow, I feel like this should totally be like a slide deck. I guess maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should just do it like this and then have like a scrolling thing of like you keep scrolling down and it tells you like more and more information, like what is Betaflight? Oh, it's this. What does this do? It's that. It's like very in that order. Anyway, Betaflight is a firmware, it's a software on your computer. It's an app, and you plug your drone into your computer or your phone, and you are able to change the settings in your drone's flight controller. That's like the brain for the drone, and you can change the rates and expo, which is also has to do with how your quad responds to your stick inputs. You can configure your switches. You can, and sometimes like you cannot not do this before you're able to fly, because you might need to like set up switches so that you can arm your quad or make it so that it will work with the video transmitter that you have chosen, stuff like that. You can set up flight modes. You can tune PIDs. I have never done PID tuning, to be honest. Nowadays, that is something that you have to have a very specific situation or just be a super nerd and really enjoy tinkering with the flight performance of your drone. So I would just go ahead and argue, or I would not argue, but I would like guesstimate that nowadays sort of like stock PIDs, which is the settings of like how your drone flies from a technical perspective, probably are like 90% of the way for everybody. And tuning them is only going to get you like that last 10%, like very specific stuff. Anyway, somebody tell me otherwise if you think I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that's what it is. Meaning not worth it for most people. Don't worry about it. Okay, next. So that's Betaflight. All that stuff happens in Betaflight. Or there are other different types of firmware that you can run on your drones, but Betaflight's the most common. And what is it? SpeedyB. They're a manufacturer, but they also have an app, and you can connect your drone to it on your phone, and it's fantastic. So definitely check out the SpeedyB app. That's actually what I use most of the time to configure stuff. All right, first real flights. Yes, exactly. Take it slow. Your first outdoor flights are crucial. Find an open field away from people. Yes, that is true. Stay away from people. Like, just stay away from people all the time. Okay, please. But also, especially when you're learning, like don't try to be a hero. Okay. You're probably, well, if you've been on the simulator, it probably won't be that hard, but still don't be trying to like fly super close to your friends and be like, wow, look at this. Hover at eye level first. Well, yeah, but like don't have your eyeballs like right next to it. Probably not a bad idea to wear like sunglasses or safety glasses, to be honest. But yeah, you can hover at eye level, short controlled flights. Yeah, learn to disarm quickly. Yes, that's a big thing that I talk about. Is you know, there are some instances when you don't want to disarm, but generally, if you kind of are still learning what you're doing and you're concerned about your quad getting away from you, in the sense of like you get into a situation where you're like running towards a tree or like a pond and you like don't know how to stop it and make it go the other way because you get freaked out, just disarm. That's always the whole thing. Or like you're flying and then like somebody's like, a dog is like running up to your drone to try and eat it, just disarm. Okay, that's kind of generally the idea. That's kind of the safer method. And so FPV drones, like this specific thing, this is what took me like I think a month or several weeks to understand, was that FPV drones, the standard thing is that you have a switch set up on your transmitter to arm and disarm, and that's basically like the on switch. And it's not actually the power switch, but it makes it so that your propellers will actually start spinning and you can actually fly the drone. It will respond to the controller commands. Most RC airplanes do not have that. And so that took me a long time to figure out. And then how to get that set up on your controller and all that stuff. Because you have to have an aux switch. So you have to have a certain number of channels. What are channels? How do I know how many channels it has? You see what I'm saying? I think on Instagram, it's about to freeze because it can't go over 1 hour, I think, on Instagram on the lives. So Instagram people, thanks for joining me. Perhaps we will continue this one later, but if you want to learn more stuff about how to fly FPV drones and other cool stuff, check out RCwithAdam.com or RCwithAdam on YouTube, or go to my Instagram page for a ton of shorts related to this kind of stuff. So let's continue for the rest of you that are here. We are almost like very much out of time, so we'll blast through this. Progress to acro mode. True FPV experience. Full manual control. Switch from angle to acro in sim first. So yeah, do all of this in sim. I don't even know that I would say do angle mode, because that's just going to maybe confuse you more, especially in a simulator. You don't need to do angle mode in a simulator. Just learn acro mode, because you're in a simulator. So the whole point of doing angle mode is that you can learn to understand the controls without being able to actually do flips or rolls. And so it limits how far the drone can tilt. And then as soon as you let off of the sticks, it will automatically level the drone out, which can be good sometimes. I always have that as an option on my transmitter, on my switches. But not really necessary to start in angle mode or auto level mode when you've been learning how to fly in acro mode on the simulator. All right, cool. Learn to recover from flips. Yes. And I think I have a video about that, recovery. I can't remember what the technical airplane flying term for that, like something upset, recovery, angle, weird angle stuff. Master the death roll. I don't know why we would be mastering the death roll. Usually a death roll means something has gone terribly wrong with your drone, like maybe a propeller has flown off of it somehow, or you're having some kind of weird ESC issue and then it just starts spinning like crazy and then usually crashes and then and you disarm it, or the battery pops out or something like that. So that doesn't make any sense. Practice power loops and rolls. Yes, basically everything you did on the simulator, you can do that. Once you get comfortable, just normal flight. Explore your path, choose your specialty, and continue growing. Freestyle, tricks and flow, cinematic, smooth camera work, racing, speed and precision, long range, exploration. Yeah, so those are different kind of ways that you can fly your drone. And join the community. Connect with other pilots to accelerate your learning. Join local flying groups. Where are those? I don't know. Participate in races, meetups. Where are those? I don't know. Share your footage online. Yeah, I guess I do kind of do that. Never stop learning. And that's where we're going to end it today, folks. Never stop learning. If you like this sort of thing, let me know. I think it's pretty darn cool. I'm going to play around with this because I really want to get you guys the best educational way of simply learning, and it makes sense. I don't know. My sentences aren't making sense anymore, which means it's time to stop because I've been doing so much talking because we haven't had any questions today. But thank you all for joining me. Thanks for stopping by. Let's switch back over to this camera. Shibwam. All right. Well, this has been Adam Terry with RC with Adam. And I will see you again tomorrow, 11:11 a.m. Eastern Time. Right now, we've been doing it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 11:11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's all I got for you. So I will see you then. Thanks. Have a great day. Have a fantastic day. Remember, take a breath. It's going to be okay. Okay. Bye-bye.